Good morning, everyone. Welcome to another edition of DoMoreLife Live. Today will be um, a little bit of a different live stream, and I'm excited about it because I've had a change of heart. What's up, LMAO? Good to see you, bro. And everybody else, Don C, New York Frank, Robert N, Robert Mack, Lyle, of course, all of you guys in the chat with me on this beautiful, what is today? Wednesday morning in Thailand. Asian Unscripted, what's up, man? Appreciate all my channel members being here. If you're not a channel member, you should definitely do that. It's in the link below. Thank you guys for the thumbs up already. I appreciate that as well. So, here's a little backstory on this, what we're doing here. Hey, Jose, good to see you. 212 Roger, Swati Crop, hope to return to Chiang Mai. Thank you very much for the super chat, sir. That was very, very early, and I appreciate that super chat coming in. We have a PayPal in already as well, so that's a really good start to a live stream. 212 Roger, I look forward to your return to Chiang Mai, and hopefully this video will share some positive light on why your return to Chiang Mai may be the best return ever, and we're going to talk about that and get into it. Mango Sticky Rice, good to see you, brother. Hope everything is well down in the Phuket area. Ross says, good morning and happy birthday to the king. Agreed. Good morning to you, Ross, and happy birthday to the king indeed. Tim, good to see you. Glad you are in here. My email is not rolling in, but we did have a $10 PayPal come in from Mr. New York Frank there. I appreciate that, bud. When the email comes in, I will post it. I have like double VPNs running today for various reasons, so it may take it a little while to come in, but it'll come in at some point. So thank you guys for a great start. I appreciate that. So let me kind of set the tone here for what this live stream is going to be about, and so you can kind of wrap your head around it. What I have done over the past 2 or 3 months is I've been, partially furloughed. I had all these reasons. I had these what I thought were reasons in my head. Hey, David, good to see you. I think I said hey Jose, good to see you, brother, as always. But I created that perpetual state of negativity in my mind where I found myself just being depressed all the time. And really, it's like hatred and animosity. It's the same reason trolls troll, right? Their hatred and animosity consumes them, and therefore that's all they can do in life. The same applies to the situation here in Thailand. I let all the negativity, the media, the never-ending changes and policies and that kind of thing, I let all that just suck me in, and gave a bunch of mediocre live streams, and gave a bunch of it's not what I do, to be honest with you. I'm not really that guy that gets sucked into all that stuff. And just to be totally honest with you, I'm going to try to move away from that. And I'm still going to give you the news and the numbers and all that stuff. But when we look at the news and the media and what they're saying, we're going to find a silver lining in all of it, because there is a silver lining in Thailand in 2021, and I'm going to point out some of that silver lining to you today, and I'm going to tell you why, even though we're experiencing some very turbulent times right now here in Thailand, why the light at the end of the tunnel is going to be so much brighter than any tunnel Thailand has come out of before. We're going to talk about that in just a second. Anon, it's good to see you in this chat. Thanks for being here, man. He says, I'm here, but listening only as I have to be mobile this morning. Looking forward to a good live stream. Thank you, sir. I appreciate that. Robert has put the PayPal and Cash App tag up in the chat, and if you do so wish to contribute, you're more than welcome to. It's not a requirement, but I certainly appreciate it. So does the channel. Travel Eats, good to see you. Tim says, what's the Jerry's drink? I'm actually having a Coca-Cola this morning. Really, Tim, what it's about is what I learned more in my recovery than I did in anything else. And it's about mindset. It's about, do I want to just keep looking at the negative and keep bearing down on it and dwelling on it? It just makes me depressed, and it just makes me sad when there's so many other things I have to look forward to right now. I'm working on a project with a good friend who can be who's just an amazing person and has the ability to help me see life better. I'm still working on getting online jobs. I did the mock interview yesterday, and it went pretty well. We'll see what happens. I think I have one more mock interview to do, and then hopefully I'll pick up that side job. That's just a side job, by the way. I'm not changing jobs. So I'm still partially furloughed from my first one. But all these are things that would be, and I'm looking at these opportunities here, opportunities there. So I'm trying to find opportunities rather than problems. And I'm going to try to focus on being more part of the solution than part of the problem. So when these problems arise in Thailand, or when these bad days happen, or when we get bad media, or bad press in Thailand, I'm going to spin it around and look at the silver lining in it. And I'm going to start that as soon as I catch these comments up. Don C says, my Thai friends are watching all the bad news, and it's easy to be scared. I'm working hard to remind them this will pass, and 99.9% will be fine. Exactly, Don. Exactly. That's where I'm headed. Hey, Jose says, that's great news, JC. Thank you, brother. Gregory, good to see you, man. Good afternoon from Sydney. I'm glad you're able to join the stream today. Tim says, well, you're alive, you're breathing, you're still in paradise. You have a very good looking other half. Life for you, my friend, should be roses. And it should be. It's not, it's not perfect, not yet, but perfection is not the name of the game. Progress, not perfection, right? And that's what I'm going to look at today. That's what we're going to talk about today. Griffin, good morning. Good to see you, bud. Thank you. Another channel member in the house. I appreciate it. Appreciate you guys being here. So I wanted to, I don't know what that was that just came through. Let's see. Somebody just sent something, but I have no idea what it was. Okay. We'll wait and see if we get an email or something on that. I still haven't got your email, Frank, from the PayPal, but I saw the PayPal come through. So thank you very much for the PayPal. Much, much, much appreciated. Now, let's go into today's description, and I'm kind of going to touch on this, and then I'm going to backtrack and just kind of go through it all. And then I'm going to read you all this quote unquote negative media, and I'm going to spin it for you so you can see there's a different way to look at it. I'm not telling you how you should look at it. I'm telling you how I'm going to look at it from this point forward. Charles White says, cool. I know how you feel. I've been working on my view of things. I know you have, Charles. I know you have. Charles is a channel member. He's in our line group, which is, if you're not a channel member, you can't be in the line group, and being in the line group is pretty important. So becoming a channel member is a great idea. So here's the description of the video, and I'm going to come back and break this down one part at a time. It says, in this video, we discussed the silver lining in Thailand during the lockdowns and the curfews in 2021. This will be a subject that brings out the best and the worst in people, because a lot of people just want to be negative. That's true. They just want to be negative. They just want to dwell on negativity, and they want to point out everything that's wrong. 9 times out of 10, people that do that don't have a solution to the problem that they're talking about. Even when I was in my depressed state and talking about the quote unquote bad things that were happening here, at least I offered solutions, right? And the main solution to the main problem was getting the vaccines here and getting them into people, which would allow Thailand to slow the rate down. Yesterday, Thailand had 1,200 cases less than the day before. Today, we've set a new record in total of number of cases, over 16,000 cases that have been reported. There was a high number of people who passed as well. The silver lining in that is this. One, there's nothing good about people passing, so I don't want to pretend like I'm going to sit here and make you feel good about people that have passed away because of this. That's not my issue. What I'll tell you about the cases being found are, we know that we have a fast-spreading, very contagious variant here in Thailand, and we also know that Thailand is on a massive campaign to test people, right? So as they are on a massive campaign to test people, they're going to find more cases. It's just that simple. They don't tell us how many of these cases are people who have no symptoms, or who have mild to moderate, or who have severe. We just don't know. So the silver lining in that is, the more cases they find, my opinion, the more pressure it puts on the Thai government to order more jabs and to get more jabs into people. That is going to be, whether listen, I'm not here to tell you what to do with your body, okay? If you don't want the jab, that's up to you. Totally up to you. And no judgment for me. However, I've been in Thailand 3 years and 3 months, I think, or 4 months. I will tell you that the sentiment in Thailand is that one of fear amongst the Thai people, which is slowly being corrected by the jab rollout that Thailand is currently working on, and their ordering of more and more jabs. That seems to be calming some of the fears of the Thai people, which can only boost morale in the country. And that's what we're looking for right now. I'm starting to see, I've been out the past couple of days, just walking around, going to different places, had to do a little bit of shopping here and there. And I've seen the sentiment pick up a little bit. I've seen the dirty foreigner look kind of go away a little bit. And I did what I said I was going to do. Also, by the way, spent a little money at some local Thai shops and really got a warm welcome. Very appreciative thank yous from the people that I was making purchases at. Those businesses thank me very much for for my business. And I'm watching the Thai people express gratitude in a way that I've never seen before. And this is a nation full of grateful people. So that is, to me, a silver lining in all of this. Furthermore, while Thailand is now known for its extreme travel restrictions and lockdowns, there is a silver lining in these situations. This is important. That silver lining is growth, maturity, learning the value of true freedom, and learning how to adapt and overcome tough situations. We're really going to talk about that in a minute. Let's see. Griffin says, hey, Hopper says, Yeah, we can't call that faulty, and we can't mention that test's name by definition. Hopper, not on this channel. You're welcome to do it somewhere else, but you can't do it on here, bud. Sorry. No disrespect to you, just can't do it. As far as your first sentence goes, I'm okay with the stopping of the mass testing, because I mean, let them test if that's what they want to do, but the ultimate kind of thing, and what am I trying to say? The ultimate goal should be, those people with moderate to severe symptoms should be the main focus of study, in my opinion. I'm not a doctor. This is not medical advice. This is just a regular person that's making an observation. Okay. I just think they should go and worry about those people. The Phuket Sandbox. Let's look at another silver lining here. The Phuket Sandbox has overreached its maximum number of cases, right? That they said could cause the sandbox to potentially get shut down. Well, they overreached that, but the Thai government is insistent on pushing ahead with the sandbox, so it's still open. I'll read you articles about that shortly, and I think that that's a good thing, because it's going to keep the window open for people to start, for foreign tourists to start coming back to Thailand. It's a good thing. Just my opinion. Good morning. Gotta love Thailand. Good to see you. No worries, Hopper. No worries. No worries. We just can't. There's certain things we just don't mention in here, and it doesn't take long to learn. If you want to participate in the chat, no problem. Janice, good morning. Hello. Good to see you, Janice. Thank you for coming by. I appreciate it very much. Charles White says, instead of color coding zones, how about color codes for groups of the reported numbers? Numbers for green, numbers for yellow, numbers for red. That is a suggestion that's worth looking at. That would be that's basically what I was getting at anyway. So yeah, Charles, definitely no issues there at all. I think that would be I think that would be in a very good interest, or in the best interest of people. So I'll come back to the reasons that I just listed. But I want to read the rest of the description. I'll admit these times have been challenging, but there's a lot to be gained from the past 17 months in Thailand. The sentiment in Thailand is changing. More vaccines are being rolled out and more jabs are being ordered. This is positive news for Thailand. I love Thailand, and I long for the day that Thailand can fully reopen for the Thai people, Thailand expats, and foreign tourism. I'm more optimistic now than ever before. And the reason I'm more optimistic now than ever before is because this can only go on for so long, okay? And I want to say that even though we've seen these record highs, I really think we're rounding the corner. I really believe that. I wouldn't suggest anybody make travel plans just yet, depending on your situation. If you're somebody that just wants to get back to Thailand for your family, or you just want to get back over here so you can go back to your retirement home or whatever, whole different story. Come on, by all means, just come on in, do your quarantine, or use the sandbox or whatever, and come back, right? But if you're a tourist, now's probably not the best time, just because of the issues surrounding what we're having here in the situation in Thailand. So, with that being said, let me read a couple comments, and then I'm going to talk about my comments. Lyle says, Charles White, not many people want to be classified by color. It's a good point. Prep for it says, hey, Jeremy in chat, I'll be listening to your info. We'll comment a bit later. Good deal, Prep for it. Glad you're here, man. Mango Sticky Rice says, it is a good thing, Sandbox. It's not the Sandboxers that are testing positive, only about 25 positive cases from them, about 11,000 sandboxers. Well, that's good news. That's good numbers. Definitely good numbers. And yet again, another silver lining that the media doesn't always tell us about. So just because the media is telling us something, you have to look through all of it. Okay, you have to look through it and you have to read between the lines. Sabong says there is such few true information provided to the people to lessen fear, everything to increase fear. If you do not catch the coof, you have less than 5%. Yeah, so I mean, I agree with you about the media, totally, 100%. He says it seems like the governments are happy with letting people believe. Well, I can't leave your comments up because you have statistics in one, and then you have a very controversial statement in the other one. But I thank you for commenting. It's definitely something to think about. And I don't, with the government situation, the government's going to do what the government's going to do. The only thing we can do is respond to it. All right. So it's not how we have to. It would be in our best interest to stop looking at, in my opinion, to stop looking at. Sabong, I'm not trying to cut you off by any means. No disrespect intended in any way, form, or fashion. It's in our best interest, in my opinion. Okay, this is just my opinion. I'm not telling anybody what to do, but it's in our best interest to stop worrying about what the government does so much and to start our own individual thought process. Like people are going to, at some point, right? People are going to reach their quote unquote breaking point, or they're going, I always say when the pain gets great enough, people do something different. And when that happens, I'm not sure that the government's going to be able to do some of the things that they're doing now, and it'll be what it'll be. But what I've seen from the let's just talk about one thing at a time here. Let's talk about one thing at a time. So I talked about growth first. So I'm going to use myself as an example. Growth. I started with all of this when it started 17, 18 months ago as, okay, it'll all be okay. I'm sorry, that was an article from the Tiger that just came in. And then it got worse and worse and worse and worse. And job-wise, we stayed okay throughout it. And I was able to see and then to get into a very negative state. I bought into the hype around me, to the people around me that were being negative, that were being so critical, that were being so pessimistic about the situation, claiming that this and that was fake and this and that was this and all of that stuff. And if you're around, I tell people all the time, take the average of the 5 people that you spend the most time with, their character, and that's probably the person that you are. So between my work environment and between my online environment, I'm not saying anything bad about you guys, just saying the people, I'm talking about direct conversations I have with certain people, not at certain times, not so much on YouTube, like family and other people. But between all that negativity, eventually it grew on me, right? We're products of our environment. I tell you, don't believe me. If you don't believe me, go stand in a dumpster. Eventually you'll start to smell like garbage. Now, so that happened to me. I started to smell like garbage because I stood in the dumpster. I stood there. And I let all this negativity surround me, all this negativity, and I bought into it. Yeah, they need to do something different. Yeah, this is not working. Oh my God, I could have to go home. For what? Why would I go home? What's at home for? This is my home. Thailand's my home. Why would I go back to America because of this? No. Buckle down. Find another way to make money, right? I already have YouTube. I have a extremely supportive YouTube channel here and YouTube family that cares about me and that wants the best for me. If you don't believe me, you can watch some of the weekend live chats and you can see some of the super chats and the PayPals that come in. These guys take care of me, guys and girls, take care of me. And make sure that we're able to have these live streams and make sure that the channel is functional and operational. And when the partial furlough came, this is part of the maturity process that I talked about during my description. Well, I had to learn at the same time the partial furlough came. Two of my largest videos were not being shown on the homepage anymore, or not being recommended on the homepage anymore by YouTube. So I lost half my YouTube income as well in terms of revenue. But this channel kept me afloat with their contributions, and they always have. Now I mentioned this in a live stream recently. I can't depend on these guys to keep me afloat all the time. Sure, contributions are great. A challenge here, a challenge there is all good, right? But I had to learn how to, I had to get gritty and not greedy, but gritty, like grit. Bite my teeth, learn a new method of online teaching, and submit myself to their process. And I did that. It took me 3 days and I completed it yesterday. I'm still waiting on an email for the results of that. Maybe it'll come in while we're on the live stream today. I don't know. But either way, the mock class I did yesterday went so well that I feel very confident I'll be picking up an online job within the next month. So that's a super positive for me. I learned a lot by doing that, right? Adapt to the situation, make a plan, adapt, set a goal, make a plan, and execute. And that's exactly what I did. The situation changed so that my income was less than half in both revenue streams that I had. So I had to make a plan, and depending on the people to contribute to keep me settled here in Thailand is not really a good plan. While I know that the contributions will come, it's not a set in stone guaranteed fact. It's nothing that I can fully 100% depend on all the time. I'm very grateful for everything everybody's done, by the way. I'm just saying it's not something that I can always depend on. And you guys work hard for a living. You need your money too. So it's not, it's something that I had to learn, right? So I made a goal. I'm going to find an online teaching job that can continue even after I get my teaching job, because I need to start saving more money, investing more money into things that are going to make my money work for me instead of me having to work for all my money. Made that goal. Then I made a plan on how I was going to do that. I'm going to start with one company at a time. Even if it takes me 2 or 3 months, I'm going to do one company at a time, because they all have different ways they want you to teach their material. Okay. So I'm doing one company at a time right now. Then I had to execute. So I had to get up at 4 a.m. the other morning. I actually woke up at 3, but I had to get up because this company just happens to be based a long way away from here. And I had to do a 5 a.m. my time training session for 90 minutes. And I did what was necessary. For those of you that don't know, I have major sleep problems. So getting up at 3 a.m. Or 4 a.m. is just not good for me, but it's necessary. See, I had to adapt and overcome that challenge. How did I overcome that challenge? Later that day, I just took a nap and I was fine. No big deal. Let me catch the comments, and then we'll come back to we'll come back to some more things that we can spin positively. Then I'm by the end of this live stream. This may be a long live stream. I don't know, but thank you guys for hitting the thumbs up button too. I just saw we had 16 likes. Thank you. By the end of this live stream, I'm going to go to these media stories, okay, that have no real good news in them, and I'm going to give you the good news out of them. That's what we're going to look at today. So, going back up here, Tim says, sooner or later, we have to start asking questions so that this does not happen again. That's fair. That's fair. Asking questions. There's nothing wrong with asking questions. Yes, we definitely don't want this to happen again, Tim. I agree. I agree 100%. And there's nothing wrong with asking questions. There's nothing wrong with being the person that wants to find out information. And there's nothing wrong with exposing the truth about the situation. But how you handle your response to the truth coming out or the answer to the question you ask, that determines how you are going to say, how you are going to feel in the long run about the situation. And that's kind of my point. I want people to feel better about the situation. And it's not that hard to do. Like, it's genuinely not that hard to do. It's just a small change in mindset. And I'm going to get into that too. Charles White says, yeah, I was aware how it could be taken, was rewarded a few times, tried to keep off that landmine. Tim says, I thought you were already home. I am. I definitely am, Tim. Tim says, JC, you keep getting that wrong, my friend. We take care of each other. That's why it works. Fair enough, Tim. Fair enough. That is a fair point, and I accept that. We do take care of each other. I try my best to do what I can for you guys, taking care of you, making sure you have the right information, and you guys take care of me. And I agree. I agree, Tim. That's a very good comment. David says, we all know what's going on. Wait and see. Exactly. Everybody knows what's going on, so let's just wait and see what happens. Griffin says, I can see that JC in making this his home. Look at the background, a map. Wow, do you? Yeah, that was for my that's going to be for my teaching class or teaching classes as I get a job, and I will likely get more than one online job right now. You guys know my goal in life is to get to the point where I stop trading hours for dollars, right? Or if I'm working, it's doing something I love, like I have to get better at speaking. I have to get better at communicating like this, because right now I couldn't be a podcaster. My accent's still too thick. I hesitate my words. I say too much. But see, I did it and didn't even think about it. There's a room in my world for podcasting and being a voice. And I want to get there. There's also a room in my world for being a professional photographer again. That is my true passion, heart, soul. Social media, advertising, marketing, those are things that I love to do. And I want to get to a point in my life where those things become so much fun that I don't call it work anymore, and or those things produce so much passive income that I don't have to do them anymore. Charles says, well said, Tim. I agree. And Charles, 100%, you're one of the people that make sure that I get taken care of on a regular basis. So you and Lyle, especially, just stand out in my mind. Robert does too. And there are many more of you guys that make sure, but I'm just talking about in financial terms. You guys are often the reason that things get sparked, and for that I'm eternally grateful. And if you want a perfect example of why why it's so important to be positive. Look at the number of viewers we have right now. 27 viewers right now. If I had titled this video something negative, we'd have 50, 40, 60 people in here right now. But because it's positive, people don't want to hear it. A good example of that would be, well, I'm not going to go into that right now. Charles says, LOL, yep, we need something to the other side to balance. That's true. Griffin says, JC is. I'm not sure what you mean, Griffin, but I'll take your word for it, bro, because I trust you. And Tim says, Charles White, well, it is true. I agree. Hopper says, it's here to stay. It's not as bad as they make it out to be. Stop fearing it. Ditch the muzzles. We got to live with it, just like we have to live with the flu and such forever. And, hey, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you on that. We got to live with it. I've been saying that on live streams for months, but I haven't turned the wheels to make myself understand that in months. Mike says, wait, you mean you looked at it and asked yourself, what would this look like if it were easy? And bam, up at 3 a.m., nap at 3 p.m. solution. Exactly. From Tim Ferriss. That's a good one. That's a good one, Mike. Very, very good. Very good. Yeah. What would this look like if it were easy? That's a great comment. Great comment. Because, yeah, I made a plan and then made a solution. I slept 2 hours, then I got up, did the introduction stuff, and then I had a live stream, and then I took a nap. And then yesterday I got up, I did the mock class, and I was so mentally exhausted from prepping for that mock class. I didn't really do anything the rest of the day. I did talk to a few people about some opportunities, but I didn't really do anything, super productive that required a lot of execution. I rested my body because I believe that the only way to have a healthy life is to first make sure you have a healthy body and mind. Like, that's got to take priority first. So yeah, yesterday I rested, but today here I am back at work. And even though I call YouTube work, and it is a job, don't get me wrong. This is what I mean by doing something that I absolutely love to do. I absolutely love to have these streams come on here and interact with you guys. And that makes it makes it fun. So I don't consider it like a work. It's a job with all the stuff you have to do, but it's not work in the terms of, oh my God, I've got to have a live stream today. No, it's like, yes, I get to have a live stream today. Yes, that's what I'm thinking. Yeah, Tim, we can do better. And see, that's what I mentioned. 31 watching, 16 likes. We can do better. We can do better. But it's more the title of the video. And the people that are in here. Think about it. The people that are in this chat right now are, for the vast majority, the people that are in all my chats. I've only seen one new person in this chat today. One. And that's made a comment. And that's because we're talking about something positive. We're talking about optimism. We're talking about looking at the good side of things, which people just find it so hard to do. Why is that? It's so much more rewarding than being depressed and miserable. Like, it's like I've said 100,000 times. Keep your expectations low, right? Just like yesterday when the case number went down 1,200 cases from the day before, I expected it to bounce back up. I didn't know how high it would be, but I expected it to bounce back up. So I kept my expectations low. I didn't go off on a tangent about, cases are coming down or everything's getting better. No, I just simply said, good news for Thailand. Today we had 1,200 less cases than we had the day before. Moving progress in the right direction. Good luck, Thailand. That's it. Those are my comments on social media. For those of you that don't follow me on Twitter, the link is below in the description. My Instagram is below in the description. My Facebook fan page is below in the description. You can find all that information there. And you can see some of the stuff I post on social media, and I was just like, good job, Thailand. And hopefully tomorrow that number will come back down again. Eventually it's going to, because whether we like to admit it or not, the more people that get the jab, the lower the numbers are. I mean, that's been around the world. And of course, people can argue, depends on what jab you get, depends on this, depends on that, depends on that. You know, maybe you're the person that doesn't want to get the jab, but you have some type of alternative that is working for you. Perhaps your doctor has instructed you to do something different and it's working for you. Nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm not here to encourage people to do something to get the jab or not get the jab. I'm not a medical doctor. I have no medical opinion on it. I'm not here to encourage one way or the other. I am here to tell you, in Thailand, the people's sentiment, the way that they think is, I need to get the jab, or I'm unprotected and very vulnerable, and I'm going to walk around with 2 masks and stay away from everybody. That's the sentiment here. So it is what it is on that part. Mango Sticky Rice says, don't wait until you've reached your goal to be proud of yourself. Be proud of yourself every step take toward reaching the goal. Such an excellent point, Mango. Such an excellent point. I forget that a lot. I used to be a person that took pride in, took a lot of pride in failing and getting back up. And for some reason, I seem to have lost that over the past year or so. I know why I lost that, and I know the solution to the problem. I've just failed to implement, to execute on the solution, and the solution's pretty simple for me. Mostly, it's got to do with changing the people that I hang around the most. Guys, if you're somebody that hangs around me or that talks to me a lot, don't think I'm pointing the finger at you, because you could be one of the people that are helping this and helping me. Okay. So don't think that at all. Tim says, so when this is all done and we return to normal and you go back to your full-time teaching gig, will you keep the online teaching as well? I plan to. And the reason for that, Tim, that's a great question, by the way. The reason for that is so that I can build a safety net, because what I failed to do in the past, well, actually I didn't fail to do it. I actually finally did it, but then this happened, right? Was to compile 3 months worth of salary, bills, and money that I would need to keep myself afloat for 3 months should something happen and I get completely laid off, lose my job, whatever the case may be. I had finally gotten to that point, but and right as I reached there, all this happened and that went away. My goal is to get back to that point as soon as possible. I have another pressing goal that I must get as soon as possible, and that is a new phone, because my phone is going to stop working at any point in time one day. It's it's plugged in right now, the screen's open, and I'm losing battery. It's there's touch problems wrong with it. It's an iPhone 7 Plus. It's old, okay? And when I get a new phone, it's going to change the course of the way I record media as well, because I'll have optical image stabilization in the phone. I'll have IBIS, and depending on what phone I get, and I'll be able to record video holding my cell phone with my mic plugged in, and we will, you know, if I gotta take a walk to the middle of Bangkok, we'll do things differently, and you'll see more videos come out than so many of these live streams. The reason I'm doing these live streams right now is because the partial furlough at work is allowing me time to interact with you guys, which I really love doing, but I can't wait to get back to making videos. Simple videos that provide a lot of value, and a phone is by far the best way to do that. Now, Mike's throwing out some hugs. Prep for it says, I've traveled to many countries. Thailand will be my home someday. Expletive hate winter. I understand, brother. I understand. A lot of people hate winter. And it's a good thing, man, to have a plan for Thailand to be your home. Nothing wrong with that. Tim says life is a challenge. I couldn't agree more. Everything that happens that we do is a challenge, but it comes down to, like, for example, I mentioned in here learning the value of true freedom, right? With these restrictions being put in place by the above authorities, with the lockdown orders being put in place, you don't have the freedom that you once had. All right. So it's just like you can't understand what pleasure feels like until you've experienced pain, and vice versa. It's the same way. So when these lockdowns and these restrictions are lifted, when they come off, and they will be coming off at some point, they will be. So we know eventually it's coming. So why not be optimistic about that? Let's do the best we can right now with what we have. Okay. And then know that the good is coming. And when we get that freedom back, let's not take it for granted this time. Like, let's not take it for granted. Let's look at it and have, as Mike would call, a gratitude attack, right? Let's be so grateful that we have that freedom back, that we nail every opportunity in our life. We look at opportunities that we never thought of before, and we take them because we know we have the freedom to take them. We take some risk, and we take charge of our lives because we have the freedom to do so. Let's try that. That's what excites me more than anything, is the fact that I know those opportunities are coming. That's why I'm optimistic about that. That's why I'm not so rattled and shaken anymore about being in Bangkok, which is like the epicenter of the closure, right? Chonburi's feeling more of the heat right now than Bangkok is. In fact, the good news, less and less cases are coming out of Bangkok right now. One reason I see that happening, I'm just saying one reason, is because I see people getting jabbed and jabbed and jabbed and jabbed here in Bangkok. And as they get jabbed, those cases just seem to correlate. Okay. I'm not here to be pro or anti jab. Okay. I'm just saying, I see a correlation between the two. I'm not a medical doctor. This is not medical advice. Just saying. Don C says, prep for it. I traveled all over the world. I decided to move here to Thailand and will live my life here. I love it. I know you do, Don. And I have plans to come to Pattaya just as soon as I can possibly get there. And brother, when I come, I'm going to get up with you, hang out with you. And you and I are going to sit down and talk, because you are one of the people who has been tremendously successful in life. And I want some of your goodness and intelligence and all of that stuff that you carry in your character. I want it to rub off on me. And the only way for it to rub off on me is to put myself in your orbit. So that's what I'm talking about when I mean by being around good people. And people might say, how do you do that about Don? I met him. I've spent time with him. This is a man who has let me stay at his apartments that he's rented out before. I trust him. He trusts me. So that's why I say that. Live my ass off. Getting better at speaking. Stand in front of the mirror. Read the Wall Street Journal out loud. They have very few ums in their articles. That's a good idea, Mike. Good idea. See, I did it again while I'm thinking. Very good idea. Very good idea. And that's something I want to work on. Why? Because it's self-improvement. It's not that I need to be the world's greatest speaker. That's not what I'm aiming for here. I'm aiming for progress, not perfection. I want to be, see, I did it again. I want to be the person that can carry on a conversation without sounding like without sounding like somebody who's searching for words and searching for the answer, that's searching for what to say next. Almost like a person that just loves to hear themselves talk, right? They say a lot. I'm not that person, but if you heard me talk, you wouldn't know that. And so practicing in front of the mirror may just be my next move. Charles White says, I look forward to the streams, excitement, knowing it might happen. That's good, Charles. See, I love comments like that because these streams, you really never know what's going to happen on these streams. And we have such a variety of people in here from different backgrounds, and you guys do such a good job of keeping politics and religion out of these conversations. We stick to the point, and we have healthy dialogues. If you're not in the line group, I think healthy dialogues over there are going well. But one thing that we all should consider, in my opinion, but I don't think it's too much to ask for people to consider, is kind of let's get off of the everyday bad news COVID talk. You know what I mean? COVID talk's okay because it's a part of our life. It's going to be a part of our life. But the negative aura that surrounds it, let's try to shake that a little bit. Let's try to shape it into something that looks more positive. Let's try to shape it into something that, hey, we're not looking so good today, but here's what's happening to make it better, right? We're getting more jabs in. We're getting we're seeing fewer people with severe symptoms. Stuff like that, instead of, it's here. Today's a record number, and today in Thailand, record number of cases reported. But you have to look at the underlying cause, right? Mass testing's going on. And there's a lot of people, as I said before, when this lockdown started, you guys know I'm not a fan of the lockdowns. I personally don't believe they work. That's just my personal opinion. I don't know. I'm not that far down yet. Whereas, yeah, okay. All right, good. Glad you guys are taking care of the chat there. Sorry, I just got a message from one of my moderators. Let's see here. Let's go back up to where I was. I'm way behind on the comments. Way behind. I'll get there. But anyway, I lost track of what I was saying there, so we'll get back to that. Tim says, Mike, just be yourself because nobody's perfect and we all have flaws. The only people who sound perfect speaking are the TV preachers, and who wants to be that or even associated with that. Fair enough, Tim. Fair enough. And yeah, be yourself because everybody else is taken. I agree. Charles says Thailand took gold and now their champion is in Phuket Sandbox. Great. Yeah. They're going to push the Phuket Sandbox to stay open. And I hope they do because I hope it works. Just think about it like this: as they have the Phuket Sandbox open, even though they've reached their limit of cases per day, and they're over that, you have to look at the details of where those numbers actually come from, and they're saying that it's still safe to operate. So, by all means, operate it. Don C says, get the jab and get the bug, which makes them have antibodies also. It will get better, just time. I agree, Don. I agree. Gregory says, you're right about how people can focus on the headline as think of the media. If they do a shocking negative headline, then everyone watched it. If it's a feel-good story, people switch off. So true. So true. People focus on negative headlines. You're right, Gregory. 100% right. I agree. There's Thomas Travers. Good to see you, bud. He says, go with an Android, decent prices. Unfortunately, I'm plugged into the Apple system, the iPhone system, and I'm going to be buying eventually at some point an Apple computer because it's past time for an upgrade on the computer as well. So there's some things we got to upgrade here on the channel, and they'll all have a positive impact on the content I bring you. They'll all have a positive impact on the speed at which I can get things out. So I'm going to have a side teaching job, a full-time job, and the YouTube channel will still be running. I put out a post on Facebook yesterday. Facebook reminded me it had been 4 years to the day that I landed in Mactan, which is the island. Is adjacent the right word? It's next to Cebu Island, where Cebu City is. And I landed there 4 years ago in the Philippines with every intention to stay in Southeast Asia for as long as I could. And I'm still here in Southeast Asia. I'm in a different country, but I wanted to tour all of Southeast Asia. And I haven't been able to do that yet because of the situation around us. But I've seen Malaysia. I've seen a little bit of Malaysia. I've seen a little bit of Laos. I've got to see a little bit of other parts of Southeast Asia. So I'm continuing on my journey, and I'm still here. Despite all the trolls, despite all the negativity, despite all the BS that's going on in the past, I've either gone through it or grown through it, however you want to look at it. Let's see. Thomas says, go with I got that one. Don says, Gregory, what do they say? If it bleeds, it leads. Of course, the headlines are full of negative stories. 100%, Don. Couldn't agree with you more, man. Charles says, if you have an Apple computer, then the phone and ecosystem are better integrated at Thomas Travelers. I can't argue with that. I've never had an Apple computer, but I will have. If everything goes to plan, I will have by the end of the year. So I hope so. Tim says, yes, we know normalcy is coming back. So since we all know this, why not be prepared for it as possible? It's a perfect segue into something I wanted to talk about, Tim. Great thinking. We know it's coming. So let's prepare for it now. Like, save your money now for your vacation or for your move to Thailand. I know many of you want to retire in Thailand. Start saving your money now. Start planning now. Start talking to lawyers now or legal professionals that can help you with your trip over to Thailand or over to wherever you might go, the Philippines or Vietnam or wherever you might go. Make sure that you are spending this time productively so that you can execute on your plan, because a goal without a plan is nothing more than a wish, period. So good point, Tim. Hopper says, Thomas Travers, I agree. Plus, you can install any app from any source you want. Fair enough. Matthew, I'm not sure why you're in this conversation, but these comments that you're making are just not conducive to the live stream that we're having here. So we're going to remove your messages and put you in timeout. And if it continues, unfortunately, we'll have to remove you from the channel completely. Don says, I'm looking forward to seeing your brother soon. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing you too, man. As soon as I can, I will. Richard Cypress, my man, hello, good to see you. Very good to see you, Richard. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being a channel member, and thank you for being a supporter of DoMoreLife. I appreciate it very much. I'm receiving a phone call from a company. So give me 1 second, guys, and I'll be right back. Hello? This is him. Okay, guys, so that was the online company that called me. I did not get an answer there because they asked if there was a better time to call back. And I told them to call me back in an hour, and they said they would. So we'll see what happens there. Sorry I had to get up and walk away from the stream. My apologies. Now, Lyle says, so you want Don C to... Lyle, I'm just... Oh, Lyle. I love Lyle. Charles says, for me, the are a pause where your filter helps you decide if you should really say that. You got a good point, man. You got a good point. Many times I use it that way, for sure. Definitely. Like now, I want to be sure my thought is clear, or I want to be sure my sentence that's coming out is clear. I want to be sure that what I'm saying is appropriate, etc. So, yeah. The thing is something I need to get rid of, but it is what it is at the time, for the time being. Jose says, thank you, JC. Politics just kills the mood for live streams. I agree, 100%. 100%. Lyle agrees with Charles White. Ross says, learn the art of the silent pause. For perfect example, watch that guy. It's the ability to plan what you are going to say while your mouth is 2 seconds behind your brain. Fair enough. Gotta Love Thailand says, I'm curious why can't you say vaccine? I'm sure you will delete this. Just curious. Originally, we couldn't say vaccine. We can say vaccine now. We just can't say the name of the vaccine, like the company that produced it. We can't talk about stats with those jabs. We can't talk about that on YouTube because we're not medical doctors, and we don't have even if we cite the appropriate resource, we have to be very careful. We don't want to get in trouble with YouTube. We're using their platform. They're allowing us to get this information out. They're allowing us to make a little money here and there. And for that reason, I have to respect their rules. I just have to. Let's see here. Tim says, well, in America, the V seems to work. We have a slight problem with the variant, but I feel we have the solution to that also. So do I, Tim. So do I. And I think that's the case pretty much everywhere. I think the solution's pretty much everywhere. Charles says, I posted a Froggy video in line, lighting things up and stopped me from posting more food pics. That's cool, man. Hey, I love the food pics, bro. I love the food pics. Jose says, I really hope so, Tim. Up to 80K now. There. I have no idea what you're talking about, but I hope it's all good. Ross says that, Tim, you have a harder issue with the ill-informed and plain stupid. Well, it depends on who you call stupid and how you define stupid people. I really try my best not to call anybody stupid. Stupid can run both ways in my opinion. And I think ill-informed is you can say ill-informed all you want to. The people that are ignorant to a situation simply means they're ill-informed. Lots of times people only look at one side of an issue and don't take the opportunity to look at the other side. And in my experience in life, it's been that if you take time to examine both sides of an issue, you can reach your own conclusion if you're an reasonably intelligent adult. Be comfortable in your own skin. My dad used to say to me, 100%, Tim. That's all about self-esteem and self-worth. So I agree with that. Headline is all the attention on humans these days. Not sure what that means, Tim, but I got you. Ross says, JC, call T-Mobile, save $265 when you trade in iPhone 7, iPhone 7 Plus. They'll give you 24 payments. That should make it easy. That would make it easy. I just have to figure out how I'm going to live without my phone for a while until it gets to America and back from America. That would be a little bit of a problem, but we can talk about that, Ross. Don C says, Ross, I tried several phone plans. I landed on Google Fi for the last few years and just recently went to Google Voice for free. Damn easy. I hear you, bro. Lil Massoff says that if he comes back doing the chicken dance, he got the job. She was going to talk to me. She called from the company. So she said she would call back in an hour, and we'll see what happens. It's a call about his car's extended warranty. I love that, Age Unscripted. Thomas Travers says, hope he gets good news. Yeah, me too, man. I hope I get good news for sure. If he comes back holding a chicken, plucking its feathers, time for a different dance. Yep, that would be true also. Ross talking to Don C says, I have a Google Fi SIM card in USA waiting on my QT care package from my mom with all my USA mail, new credit cards, etc. Cool, man. Lyle says they may be calling about my comment. It was due next. Tim says, man, JC really has been good to us. Would like to see something break his way. Yes, Tim, thank you very much for that comment. And hopefully it will be breaking my way. We'll see. They said they would email me with a message to take the next step. So maybe a phone call means that I already got a job and don't have to do a second mock interview. I don't know. We'll find out. I'll put it in the line group later on when I find out for sure. Robert Dan says, Age Unscripted. Hi. Always laughing at Age Unscripted. Don C says, Ross, you have a Google phone. You can use eSIM. Don't even need a SIM card for $5. That's interesting. Richard says, I'm saving my money for next year vacation to Thailand. Good for you, brother. And you got plenty of time to do it. I don't see any reason why you shouldn't. Mike says, got a little Thailand hugs, Dave. Hope you're awesome. Tim says, oh, we can say it now. News to me. Yep. I didn't make a big announcement about it because, it just one of those little things that kind of slides under the table. Anon says, talk to your doctor, 100%. Don C. Ross, look at Google Voice. I was only worried about 2-part authentication using text from my banks, and it works great and free. I like that. Thai bot update, $1 $32.94 to the Thai bot. Whoop, whoop, he says. And that is another, that's another. It's not necessarily a silver lining for Thailand, but it's the silver lining for expats over here. Is the Thai bot is losing some of its value due to the current situation, which means that we get to transfer our money in and get more bot for our dollars. More silver lining, more good news. Gregory says, enjoy everyone. Have to head back to work. Have a great day. Gregory, I appreciate you, man. And thank you for being here. Anna says, Ross Round, when I first came over here with a T-Mobile phone, I needed to make sure it was unlocked before coming over. If you owe them money, they won't unlock the phone. Oh, that's very true, Anna. Very true. Very, very true. I forgot about that. Tim says, I have an old Samsung Android. Don't know exactly what type, but it works. I actually use an Android for my Thai phone here. I use it as a hotspot. So let's go over the news today. Let's see how bad. Yeah, I agree, Tim. When home currency loses its value, it's not good either. That was certainly one of my points for sure. 22 up, 6 down. Good. We got some trolls in the house. Always love them. There's a study. I'm not even going to read into that because I want to get away from the all that news and everything else. Let's see. Charles White says my T-Mobile phone worked fine when it was locked using a world data plan they offered. That's cool. So this is from the Tiger. It says officials reluctant to canceled Phuket Sandbox lifeline for desperate locals. And this makes sense. Officials have confirmed that the Phuket Sandbox scheme will not be canceled, despite rising infections on the island, at least not for now. The Bangkok Post reports that despite the island reopening, 40 new infections yesterday, the highest number since it reopened to foreign tourists, the governor is reluctant to put an end to the financial lifeline for desperate locals. Instead, a number of additional restrictions have been introduced. And again, these restrictions are going to get to the point where people are just simply not going to follow them. And if you don't believe me, look at the news coming out of Pattaya right now. Over the last 2 days, two separate places have had people in them that have gotten arrested because they're drinking and partying. They're just tired of being inside. Let's see. Tim says, Betty bye nighttime. All right, Betty bye, Mr. Tim. Most of the new infections are cases of local transmission, primarily in people arriving from high-risk dark red provinces to look for work. See, there you go. So people that are, now that the economy is opening up in Phuket, people arriving from the dark red zones where COVID is more prevalent right now are carrying that transmission with them to Phuket. So it's not the foreigners coming in that are bringing in these big numbers. It's locals here in the country. So again, the silver lining in that is the foreign scheme, the way it's set up to bring foreigners in is working, and it seems to be working quite well. You know, that's, I mean, I don't know of a better way to look at it. Officials have responded by strengthening measures to get to the island, including the need for domestic arrivals to have proof of vaccination and a negative test. To date, the Sandbox scheme has resulted in 278,623 hotel nights booked between July and September, a tiny light at the end of a very long, dark tunnel. One of the TAT spokesmen says the scheme will continue, but efforts must be made to curb the spread, adding that the Phuket scheme is also helping tourism everywhere. Okay, there's good. If it's helping tourism everywhere, then let it continue, right? Why not? Yeah, progress in thinking, Charles White. That's what we're working on, man. Quote, we have to stay on high alert and try to decrease daily infections over the next 7 days to sustain the program in the long run. We have to keep this fortress steady as the province is a test run for other destinations. For example, Samui has most of its international visitors flying from the Phuket Sandbox rather than its Samui Plus model. Fair enough. Another concern is the perception of Thailand abroad, with a number of countries classifying it as high-risk destination. Well, of course they're going to do that because of the numbers right now. However, Thailand can defeat that by doing one of two things. They can stop the mass testing, and they can also make it known that these numbers that are these foreign tourists that are coming in. If I was in the media releasing this, I would highlight this story as a win for foreign tourists, right? Foreign tourists are winning the battle in Thailand because they're coming in, for the most part, uninfected. They come in with little to no problem. And when problems do arise, such as the lady that came in on the flight with the one guy that was infected, hopefully that problem doesn't happen again. I'm sure they had to look at it. The officials in Phuket had to look at that and say, okay, we have to do something different. We have to do something different because we can't do this to people again. It just makes sense. Quote, we have to work 2 times harder to convenience the international community. Phuket is safe for travel, which is difficult when the cases are peaking nationwide. Actually, it shouldn't be looked at as being difficult. It should be looked at well, in my opinion, this is my opinion. I'm not here to tell anybody how they should or shouldn't perceive things. But instead of, if you want to work 2 times harder to convince the international community, you don't need to work. You don't actually need to work harder. You just need to make sure that the safety measures that you put up in place are working. And if not, adapt and change. And then the foreign tourists that come over and have a pleasant experience will go home and tell everybody. And they'll send, I've been seeing social media pictures from the Phuket sandbox and from the island of Phuket itself over and over and over again, people talking about how happy they are. So that's good promotion for Phuket. And that's where their promotion needs to come from. But they seem to be tightening down on the restrictions there. I read some of them yesterday. I'm not going to get into a lot of them, but if it were me, and this is not my country, it's not my call. If it were me, I would be very cautious about how many restrictions I put on that. That's where the negativity can be brought out and shown, right? Is the simple fact that, like, if you continuously restrict the people that are the tourists that are coming in and what they can and can't do, they're not going to want to come. So let's not overbearingly restrict them. Let's find more ways for them to have more fun safely. That would be the attitude I personally would take. Meanwhile, the government has approved a proposal to allow sandbox tourists to travel to the neighboring provinces of Krabi and Phang Nga after 7 days on Phuket, down from 14. A number of islands in Krabi province hope to reopen to Phuket sandbox tourists, but a guy from the Krabi Tourism Association says that 70% of the island's residents will need to be vaccinated first. The 70% number is not coming anytime soon if we're talking about both jabs or full inoculation. And that's just because Thailand simply doesn't have that kind of that supply right now. Okay. So, but the rest of the story leading with it, hey, you can now go to Krabi after 7 days. Push that out in the media. That's a silver lining. That's a positive step in the right direction. Let people get out and travel. That's a good thing, a very good thing, and should be looked at as a good thing. Be safe, do what you do. Again, there were more, I'm just a headline here, more Pattaya people arrested drinking alcohol, violating COVID measures. Well, they have an alcohol ban. We have to live by the rules for now. It is what it is. If you break the law in any other country, you're gonna get arrested. If you break the law here, you're gonna get arrested. I'm not saying that the laws here or anywhere else are the right ones to have at the moment, but I am saying they exist. And as a grown adult, if you break them, you got to live with the consequences. So the silver lining in that is patience, right? Because those laws are not going to stand forever. So just be patient. Mr. Richard Cyphers has just sent a $10 PayPal. Thank you very much, sir. I appreciate that more than you could possibly know. I don't know why the emails are not coming through, so I can't show them to you. They're not coming through on the email account. I really apologize for that, guys, but when you hear the beep, it's coming through. I think it's because I'm using 2 different VPNs right now, and that probably has something to do with it. SK Movie Watcher says there have been far worse things caught in Thailand. Yes, there has. Yes, there has. I agree with you 100%. There has been some worse things caught here. So overall, guys, let me just sum this up. I don't want to have a prolonged big live stream here. First of all, thank you all for hitting the thumbs up button. I really appreciate that. But let's go into mindset more. Let's go into more positive thinking. Let's look at when you get a piece of news, that seems to be negative, try to look at the positive in it, because somewhere in that negative piece of news, there has to be a silver lining. There has to be some optimism somewhere. In virtually every piece of news that comes out, or everything you hear, there has to be some optimism, and you just have to learn how to find it. And I'm talking to myself as well. Okay, I'm not perfect on this, but I have to learn how to find the optimism and the realism in it. Get ready for more good news. You're hired, Charles says. That's that. I hope that's what they tell me. I really do. So we'll see what they say when they call back in an hour. And you guys that are in the line group, channel members that are in the line group, I'll definitely let you know. And Charles says he's thinking positive. So good. He's already using the positive thinking scenario there. And I like to see that. SK Movie Watcher says, problem is even good news isn't good news because the news is always changing. Well, see, that's what I'm talking about. Changing news does not always mean it's bad. Okay. We know here in Thailand that they change things a lot. They'll set a policy and then change it very short notice. Sometimes it can become frustrating if you've made plans around the news. I understand. I get it. Totally get it. But you have to, it's my suggestion that you find a way to look at that piece of news, why it changed, and see what the silver lining is in that news. There may not be a direct value of optimism in that piece of news, but there can always be optimism found on the end of the news. For example, if they were to come out and say, everything's shut down until next year. Okay, well, at least we know next year everything's going to open up, or we know that they've set a timeline and we're going to have to deal with it for the time being. Now we can learn how to overcome and adapt. We can change what we're doing and the way we live and overcome and adapt. Trial and error is a valid process. I agree 100%, Charles. 100%, I agree. And says companies don't normally call for a denial. They normally are silent or at best send an email. I agree, Anna, and I'm very much looking forward to this lady's callback. So with that being said, let me just start to wrap this up, guys. First of all, I want to thank everybody who contributed monetarily today. I appreciate it. I think we had 2 monetary contributions. I can't remember. They didn't come through. Didn't come through the email. They only came through PayPal. But I can open up PayPal and tell you exactly who sent what and when. One was New York Frank, who sent $10, which I very, very, very much appreciate. And the other was Mr. Richard Cyphers, who did the same. And I appreciate that very, very, very much. Thank you, guys. As I really appreciate it, and a little bit goes a long, long, long way. Prep for says best of luck in all important phone call, Jeremy. Thank you, sir. I very much appreciate that, and I'm looking forward to getting to work on it for sure. So thank you to anyone who contributed monetarily to the channel. Secondly, thank you to my channel members, and especially those who are part of the line group. If you're not a part of the line group, all you have to do is contact me. I'll give you my line ID. You add me as a friend, and I will invite you to the group, and you can be a part of it. No problem. I really want to thank you guys for being channel members, though, and we're going to get a lot of content out to you guys. If anybody sees Stuck in Florida, tell him I said, hey, I haven't seen him in a long time and I miss him. I also want to thank my moderators for doing a fantastic job of keeping the chat as clean as possible, and I appreciate that. As always, we like to keep a good, clean chat in here. I think everybody's done a fantastic job with that. Those of you that have wrenches, so much, much, much appreciated on that deal. I don't know that there'll be another live stream this week. There may be, but I don't know for sure. However, we will have our regular Bangkok time, 9 a.m. Saturday and Sunday live streams this weekend. Unless this new job goes through, and I'll be teaching during those times, which I think I can set my schedule around that, but I'm not 100% sure. So, with that being said, remember, guys, be optimistic. Find the silver lining, especially find the silver lining in the traveling and the curfews and the lockdowns here in Thailand in 2021. It's very important that you look at the side, or err on the side of optimism. Be cautiously optimistic if it makes you feel better to do it that way. I think this has been a great chat. You're welcome, Robert, and thank you for being here. Thank you for dropping the PayPal link. I appreciate that. You guys rock, as always. The DoMoreLife family is always rocking, and I really appreciate you guys for all the dialogue today. I really do. To anyone who dropped a comment, I appreciate it. Whether you were a troll or not, I still appreciate it because it helps with the algorithm. The more comments and content, the better. So, with that being said, whatever you guys do today, be sure you do more life. I love you, and I'll see you on the next one. Everybody, take care. And if you have a comment to make, please comment below in the comment section. Good night, and have a good day, depending on where you are in the world. Later, guys.